No, just a minute, because we've got even a mail coming through now. Yeah. He says, look, that Femi Falana, Joe Domaki, so many civil society groups are going to be there. These all have expressed stronger views. And you haven't expressed your views previously, so you're not going to be there. That if people like you don't have time, then who will?
You see, my friend, I cannot recollect any of those people that you have mentioned, say that the national conference will not produce fruitful results. You can't quote me.
You cannot recollect even members of Afenifere who have said before now.
I'm not Afenifere,
Just a minute. Some of them have said, well, yes, they doubt the intention behind this conference, but let us seize the moment. We will go. These are people who have they've been in this, for a longer time, and they see reasons why they should go. But
yes, you see, my friend, the truth of the matter is that, you see, God has been so kind to us that He has created, as they say, because they don't even know how many people we are in Nigeria anyway. So all of them are just banding, figures here and there. There are 160 million people in this country. I'm just one out of 160 million people. You see, you should just tolerate my idiosyncrasies. You see, I mean, the truth of the matter is that, like I said earlier on, all Nigerians are not going to be in that conference. At the end of the day, and I'm praying that I'm proved wrong. I'm praying that this conference will start something new for our country. I'm praying that this conference will structure our country fundamentally. I'm praying that this conference will make sure that we'll fight corruption in this country. But you see, I cannot see that happening with this conference. I can't see it. You see, and I will be wrong. And I will be very glad. I will be very thankful to God to be wrong. That this conference produces a fantastic Nigeria where power is generated everywhere, where everybody is employed, where everything is functioning. I will be very glad. I will be very glad.
But you also did say something which I'm not sure. You said that those who want to discuss the country, if they actually mean well, will not go and demand per diem or something. But
I didn't say they should go and demand. I said the government is saying.
No, you said they will not demand, that those who are going there to discuss, to improve the country, will not demand. So it came across as though people who are going there are demanding.
No, I didn't say that. No, maybe you didn't get what I said very correctly.
No, I heard you.
No. The point I made. Let me state it again, for the avoidance of any doubt. That if you want to organize a conference that will produce results in this country, that will change Nigeria, it is not going to be a per diem conference. That was what I said. Per diem, that's a quote and unquote, because that may not be an English word really. The truth is that you don't organize conferences and then say, come, we'll give you money for hotel. And all. I'm not saying these people are demanding. I know some of our comrades there who probably will not even collect the money at the end of the day. So the point I'm making is that even if I were to be in the conference, I may not collect money from them. Because you see, the truth is that this is our country. Anybody who is pained at the way this country is being governed, we have so much resources in this country, and then Nigeria is being undergoverned, Nigeria is being misgoverned, our people are being abused. Look at our roads, look at our schools, primary schools, public secondary schools that many of them attended, they've gone into extinction. And then we want to go to Abuja, into a 5-star hotel and be doing conference.
The conference is starting on Monday.
Yes.
If you had the privilege of setting an agenda, so to speak,
yes.
What would you ask them to start?
Yes, I was doing that before we started this cross-examination. Now, the truth of the matter is this.
Is that what you call it?
That's what I call it. No, the friendly way.
No, I understand.
The truth of the matter is that, look, I've said number one, and I think the president, if he's truly responsive, as I praise him, I'm a very realistic person, very even-handed. I try to praise him when there's need to praise him. If he's truly responsive, I expect him to say, okay, look, we made a mistake. Now we're going to submit the outcome of this conference, to a referendum. 2, we're not going to spend a kobo to fund anybody. Of course, we'll provide the all. Then that's where we will know those who want Nigeria to change or not. What if we say we're going to pay people 30 million naira to go and be doing conference? Everybody will be going there, and people will just be saying all sorts of funny things there. So if he does that, I'll be very glad. In fact, I'll be the first to go and praise him to high heavens. Then if, again, we look at the content, what are we talking about? I don't want this conference to become, an avenue for ethnic jingoists to turn this country into some Somalia. What we want is this. Let us look at employment. I've just spoken about the need to restructure our wage system. Then let us look at infrastructure. How do we ensure that we can build roads in this country from Lagos to Maiduguri? Then security, issue of security. How do we fight crime? These are things that I think we should be dealing with. And then, of course, questions about having oil blocks. If this conference comes out and say, look, we must abolish this irresponsible thing about sharing our oil blocks to people, I will celebrate them.
Is there any part of our law that says we can subject this to a referendum?
Part of our laws. That is the point I was making initially. You see, when you call a national conference is an extra-constitutional mechanism. You don't, when you begin to look, you're not thinking outside the box. When you begin to look at the existing law, then you're not talking about a genuine national conference.
We shouldn't look at the existing law.
If you look at the existing law, you're not talking about national conference. This national conference, is it being set up under an existing law? Otherwise, it is conflicting with the National Assembly. Because if you look at the Constitution, the National Assembly, by Section 4, is the body created to make law for the good, order, and peace of this country. So when you now talk about national conference, you're already going after the Constitution. So if you now ask us, is there anywhere it is written that it should be subject to referendum, then I tell you that you're not talking about national conference.
No, but you have lawyers who have also been here, and they say, well, first and foremost, yes, the president has the powers to convene the conference, but for the outcomes to have any national bearing or legal bearing, it has to go to the National Assembly. And there's no provision in our laws for a referendum.
That is the point I'm making to you. That when people come here and tell you, I mean, I respect everybody. People, you know, that's why I said we are 160 million people. We have so many lawyers, different perspective. The point I'm making to you is that under what law is this national conference being convened? They should show me the law. The National Conference Act 2000 and whatever. There's no such law. Now, if you go and say...
Under what laws did the previous
if you say, if you say Tribunal of Inquiry is no longer in the Constitution.
Okay, but under what law did the previous conferences hold?
That's why, this is the point I made to you earlier on, that when you do national conference, it is extra-constitutional. And we all know that as Nigerians, we can talk. So nobody's going to say it's illegal to talk.
When it's extra-constitutional,
yes,
then why shouldn't it go back to the National Assembly? Who is empowered to make laws for this country?
No, it's because it is extra-constitutional. That's why I should not go to them. That is the reason. That is the answer.
So that means it's an extra-constitutional issue. So the discussions end and the report goes where?
The point is that if you want to do national conference...
Because the Constitution doesn't have anything about the referendum.
You see the point. The fact that you are doing a national conference in the first place presupposes that there's a problem with the existing constitutional order. Otherwise, there will be no need for national conference. Because the National Assembly is there by virtue of Section 4 to make law for this country. So when you now say, gentlemen, we have a problem in this country and we want to make progress, people are agitating for restructuring, of this country. Now, we want to have a conference that will debate this and then fundamentally restructure our society. That is not the kind of thing you take to the National Assembly. It is not.
But have you read some of the guidelines for that conference?
The guidelines?
Yeah.
Under what law was the guideline made?
Some of them also said, look, the conference will determine what they want to be done with their recommendations.
That the conference will determine what they want to be done. Well, that's fine. I wish them good luck.
What do you think about that? You don't think it's necessary or shouldn't have been put there?
When you decide what you want to do with your recommendation, and this recommendation is still taken to the National Assembly, how would the National Assembly not throw it away? So, I mean, it is just playing games. Don't you understand?
But again, if we say almost everyone, once, people never believed that it was going to work. Some were skeptical about it, and gradually we saw that a lot of people were coming in. Even the president came into believing that it will work, and even the big opposition party, the APC also, started believing, as can be seen in some of the states that have sent delegates. Don't you think that same believability is also inherent in some of those people in the National Assembly, so that when it comes, they will feel, hey, this is a national issue. Let's give it the urgency and, genuine feeling that it desired.
Well, you see, my brother, I will tell you something about politicians, regular politicians. Politicians will always be politicians. So even if you are doing something that they know is not going to work, well, because we just said, said, look, gentlemen, we have to be relevant, we have to be there. They will just go there. So that is not a justification, for the conference ever producing results. I must correct that. That's a caveat. Then having said that, the truth of the matter is that if at the end of the day, you take this to the National Assembly, and National Assembly even adopts all that they have said, you must know that there's something about democracy. Democracy is not just about letter. It's also about the spirit. Even if the National Assembly were to adopt wholesale everything that is done by the National Conference, the National Assembly is still not the people of Nigeria. You see, there's a spirit that comes to the people themselves, adopting, ratifying, agreeing to what has been done by the National Conference. And that itself, it's part of democracy. That in itself is a democratic process. So you must learn to separate the spirit from the letter of democracy.
Okay, because I mean, I want this. I kind of confused. You say the National Assembly will not actually do or ratify this. Now you say even if they do,
Yes, yes.
they are not represented by the people. So what exactly
The people,
do we
you see,
want?
the people, you can't take away the people from democracy.
But we
You know,
elected
yeah,
them,
I
didn't we?
agreed, Mr. Aturu, because
That was why Abraham Lincoln.
I've also read you, a couple of other people, minds, talk about the Constitution and specifically on that phrase, with the people.
Yes.
So I was thinking that with this conference, that phrase would definitely be taken care of when we say with the people, because these are the people coming forward. So at what point can we then say we're the people? If we're still going back and forth, we can have the we the people through the National Assembly, we can have we the people through a national conference. So at what point can we get we the people in all frankness?
Well, that was where we started from. Unfortunately, maybe you didn't get my drift. And that is the fact that genuine national conferences are not done in five-star hotels.
Does it
They are
matter?
done right on the street.
On the street.
The Constitution was written on the streets.
Of course, the Constitution, most Constitution, you see, the thing, when you see the letter of the Constitution, even American independence, it was done on the street. But then, you can, after you have done the work on the street, you then come to the room and begin to write it. But this one, you are writing first before you are going to the street.
Can we write it in a hotel afterwards?
Oh no, if we do the right thing, if our people are mobilized to know that democracy is theirs, they are the essence of democracy, and they will do what we need to do, then of course we can even commission you to write the Constitution for us.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on this morning. Mr. Bamidele Aturu is a
Okay,
legal
thank you.
practitioner. We've
Thank
been
you very
speaking
much.
about the national conference. It's time for the headline news. Adeshawa Josh is standing by. You should say hi anytime soon.